Is everyone comfy?
Yes.
Good job sharing that pillow, you two. You must be good friends. Bobs and I are good friends too. We love spending time together. We have so many things in common, and there's so many things we love to do together.
Like singing, playing outdoors, making music together?
Yeah, and there's actually so many things we like to do that are different too.
Uh-huh. Like, I love swimming, and Lola loves riding her bike.
Sure, and I also love rock climbing, but Bobs finds it a little bit difficult. Although she did try it last summer because she knew that I really wanted to do it.
And this is a story about two unlikely friends who don't let their differences get in the way of their friendship.
Hoot was an owl and he loved to fly, swooping and gliding away in the sky. And one day he spotted way down below a small little frog who was waving hello. So Hoot circled down and came to a stop, and the frog said, "Good day, my name is Hop. I'm on an adventure and I need a friend, the kind that's there from beginning to end. We could be great friends, just you wait and see. Do you wanna come explore with me?" It's Hoot, 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 and it's Hop, 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 Hop. And they may be different from each other, but they have fun with one another. It's Hoot, 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 and it's Hop, 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 Hop. And they play all day until it's done. Play all day and sing this song. Hoot jumped up with the flap of his wings. He was so happy that he started to sing. His song was screeched, but Hop didn't mind. He just croaked along with his friend in time. "Where should we go?" Hoot asked the frog, and Hop said, "Let's go jump over that log." They hopped for a while till they came to a stream where they got so muddy that they needed to clean. Hop jumped into the water and started to swim. Hoot tried to, and Hop was proud of him. It's Hoot, 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 and it's Hop, 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 Hop. And they play all day until it's done. Play all day and sing this song. Hoot was all wet, so he waited to dry. Well, Hop tried jumping and tried to fly. He jumped and he jumped, but he always came down. So Hoot picked him up and they flew all around. When they finally landed, each thanked the